I'm not either.
I would have brought
We're
up
in
his name
agreement.
in this issue.
Ms. Donnelly, you have finally found it. After 2 hours, we have found something you and I agree with. You have found something you and I agree with. But thank you. And on that note, I'll end. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy.
Thanks, Chairwoman. I want to comment about Ms. Tauscher's and Mr. Sestak's earlier remarks. It is this week the 60th anniversary of the executive order of President Truman, and you think that, you know, when we desegregated our Army, when half of our country was still segregated, and really the powerful thing that was when there was a lot of social tensions obviously there when that decision was made. And Ms. Donnelly mentioned it was, you know, it was a civil rights issue, an equality issue, but also, as you mentioned, a military necessity, why he made that decision. And it, you know, I like to point the fact that since we implemented the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy in our military, there have been 12,000 servicemen and women that have been forced to chapter out of the military. Since 9/11, a combat brigade, 3,500, specifically 58 Arabic speakers, which they could be on the ground right now in Iraq or Afghanistan producing vital intelligence that would help us win the war on terror. You know, when I was in Iraq with the 82nd Airborne Division, my men did not care if you were gay or straight. They just wanted to get the mission done and come home alive. So, you know, it brings us, and I would like to direct this first to Mr. Donnelly, you know, what would be the greater threat to our national security and military necessity? Leaving a terrorist document untranslated, or having a gay soldier alongside a straight one?
In order to have those documents translated, we need to have the Defense Language Institute training people who are eligible to be in the armed forces. And by the way,
we did. There was 58 that actually were trained, and they were thrown out of the military under
stereotype about who's the best linguist. By the way, we need people who are good linguists, but not necessarily should they be gay.
Right.
I mean,
Ms. Donnelly, come on, let's be straight here. Let's be straight, and that's what the American people want. The fact is, when we talk about military necessity, we are in desperate need of more troops in Iraq and especially in Afghanistan. And we have let go 12,000 American men and women soldiers, not for sexual misconduct, but because of their sexual orientation. 58 of those are translators. Now, I will tell you, used to running convoys up and down Ambush Alley, I wish we had more translators. We were in desperate need of Arabic speakers, and we didn't have enough of them. Right. And it is a military necessity. Would you not agree that we have more troops right now in Iraq and Afghanistan?
We need to find those linguists, and the State Department's already working on that. And I come from a community with a very large Arab American community. There are lots of things that can be done. But the number of discharges, if you see this attached to my testimony, the smallest column is the discharges for homosexuality, pregnancy, weight standards, other kinds of things, far more. But you could reduce this number to zero or near zero if the Department of Defense dropped Don't Ask, Don't Tell and enforced the law properly. We should not be training people who are not eligible to be in the armed forces.
Well,
it's a very simple principle.
I understand your point that they shouldn't belong in the armed services, and we're going to have a fundamental disagreement on that. But I would like to restate that the fact that there is a military necessity right now to keep our nation safe, and it's a detriment to our national security, the fact that we are discriminating against people from openly serving in our military when there's already rules in place to address sexual misconduct, whether it's homosexual misconduct or heterosexual misconduct, as compared to your orientation. I would like to mention also, when you talk about necessity, that, you know, and Sergeant May, I agree right now, we need more soldiers in our military, in our Army, and in our Navy as well, and the Marine Corps, especially when you look at the rapid amount of deployments, the fact that the divorce rate is as high as it's ever been, the suicide rate in 2007 is as high as it's ever been, and we need help. And we need more good people, whether they're gay or straight, to join our military and to serve honorably.
Congressman, as a daughter of a submariner, do you think that there would be more people willing to join the submarine force if they knew that professed homosexuals would be on submarines? I don't think so.
Well, Ms. Donnelly, you and I would agree. You know, I have faith in those 18, 19-year-olds. Okay, I'll let you ask me a question, I'm going to answer it. You know, usually it comes from the other side of the dais, but the fact is that I have a lot of respect for these 18, 19-year-old heroes, the best of the best that join our military. And the fact is I have faith in them. See, as Command Sergeant Major, as you said before, the fact is I can grab a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division and say, listen there, soldier, paratrooper, you're going to run that space shuttle in 1 week. You better learn how to fly that thing. And by golly, that paratrooper will find out a way to make that happen. And the fact is that we are, you know, President Truman had faith in the American people. and our men and women in uniform. He says, I don't care if you're black or white, you wear green in our Army. And that's what we need right now. And the fact is Sergeant Major, I know when you were a Ranger, and thank you again for your service. You probably weren't happy when General Sajecki said, listen, hey, Rangers, you're not wearing a black beret anymore. You have to wear a tan one. I wasn't happy about it, but hey, you just salute and you just execute those orders. And we need to have faith in our young American men and women that do the right thing on behalf of equality in our Constitution and what America is all about. And I see my time is up. And Chairwoman, I appreciate
Thank you,
the
Mr.
time.
Murphy. Ms. Shea Porter?
Thank you. I'd like to point out that I grew up in a household that had both my parents were conservative Republicans and Roman Catholics. And